Bing bong.
This is the I, Dan Simpson Show.
We do it because it's right.
I love the dialectic.
His testicles became swollen.
Based.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come. Please clap.
Who's this man? This man in the hat. I'm gonna ruin this.
You're a stupid baby, Dan. Not me.
Awesome. Hello, viewers and replay viewers alike. Before we introduce our guest for the day, please support this content on Patreon for as little as $3 a month. You will get early access to my talks, and you'll be able to support this kind of content. This is Leftist and Chill with me. I'm your host, Dan Simpson. Let's welcome to the show today, Left Hand Stu. Hey, Stu, what's up, bud?
Hello.
How you doing today, bud? Everyone
How
clap.
are you?
I'm really well. Thank you for asking. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Not much. We got basically just I think the provincial election, the Ontario provincial election, is going to start tomorrow. Huh. And I got a new job, so that's the big news in my neck of the woods. I'll be able to drop the Independent from the Independent Journalist as of next week. I'll be part of the Parliament Hill Press Corps, so I'll get to pester all of the most powerful politicians in the country with whatever questions I have. So that'll be very exciting.
I mean, like, is that what we can be expecting? Do you think you'll be like grilling them as they walk in and out of Parliament, or what can we expect?
Yeah, no, like I'll be getting all set up with my press pass and stuff, so I'll be able to getting in the scrums and stuff, and being there for like question period and stuff. So I'll be right in there. It's gonna be great. It'll depend on like what I get assigned for where I'm, like who I'm talking to and all that. But it's this is the reason I got into journalism. So it's exciting.
Well, congratulations! That is incredible. Yeah. Please clap. Yes. All right, Stu. You're a returning champion. We've had you on before. Got to know you a bit, and now
great chat.
Yeah, and it was really nice chatting with you. Thank you again for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. I reached out to see if you had anything that you wanted to talk to me about, that you wanted to share with me. I thought you were a great guest, and we had a good vibe going. And I'm of the opinion that you can learn a lot from a lot of people, and it does help that I think we're ideologically aligned on a lot of different things. But more importantly, I'm just excited to learn about something completely new to me. We're going to talk today. Again, we'll probably talk later about what happened in the United States with the leak of the supposed SCOTUS decision that's upcoming that they're gonna overturn Roe v. Wade. But the topic you wanted to talk to me about was something initially sounded great to me, and you sort of warned me. You said, "Well, let's look into it and we'll learn about it." And that is our topic of the day, and it's a little bit of a content warning for some folks because we are talking about medical assistance in dying, or it's like MAID is
the MAID legislation in Canada, as it's called. More recently it was Bill C7. It was the sort of the update to it. And in theory, MAID could be a very useful tool if we lived in a sort of a functioning, healthy society that provided the things people needed to live a healthy, functional life, but they still had some sort of debilitating or terminal illness, and they wanted to end their life on their own terms. That, done well, I would say there's absolutely a place for that. The problem is that how it's been sort of played out since this came into effect. I believe, let me just double check, it was in 2015 when the Canadian Supreme Court originally reversed over 20 years of law to say that the ban on assisted suicide was unconstitutional. And then they said it was completely irrational, all the fears about a slippery slope into homicide against vulnerable people. That's an actual quote from the Supreme Court, that they believe that those are the criticisms. Well, if we put this in, we'll just start killing poor and poor people who can't afford to live healthy lives. And 5 years later, that's basically, well, it's actually 7 years later, that's what's happening. Because Bill C-7, the one I brought up, that was the one that did away with the requirement that for someone to seek medical assistance in dying, there had to be a reasonably foreseeable requirement that they would die, like their death was reasonably foreseeable, and that the condition they have is terminal. So both of those things had to be checked off.
Okay.
Like it couldn't just be like, okay, well, you're probably gonna die because you're old. That before this Bill C-7, that wouldn't have flown. You'd have to hit both of those metrics. Now you don't need to have that. In 2023, you will be able to access medical assistance in dying if your only underlying condition is mental health, which is terrifying. And I don't know, like if you want me to explain like much more, but that's basically the nuts and bolts of what it is. It's if you, as of right now, if you believe that you can't live a life that is acceptable to you, and whatever your condition is too debilitating, you can take your own life. Problem is that a lot of the people some of the cases we've seen are people who very much could, if we had a society that had the will to do it, like live a very happy, functioning life.
Right.
Like this most recent case.
Okay, and we'll bring that up right here, right now. You sent this along to me, and I was just devastated. We were devastated to read this story here. Woman with chemical sensitivities chose medically assisted death after failed bid to get better housing. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is, it's just like, it gets hard to find the words, but someone called this social murder, a term coined by Friedrich Engels. What did I just say?
Yeah.
By
Friedrich Engels?
Yes, in the book 1984 Animal Crossing. I don't know. A term used to describe murder committed by the political and social elite where they knowingly permit conditions to exist where the poorest and most vulnerable in society are deprived of the necessities of life and are placed in a position of which they cannot reasonably be expected to live and will inevitably meet an early and unnatural death. All right. I mean, I don't know.
This
Yes,
is
please.
explicitly what is happening with this woman named Denise.
Right.
She has, as I said, multiple chemical sensitivities. So it causes rashes, difficulty breathing, blinding headaches, and then temporary paralysis. She's also uses a wheelchair because she had a spinal cord injury.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like the things that are causing her MCS, it's cigarette smoke, laundry chemicals, air fresheners. So for this woman to live just a bare standard minimum of an acceptable life, she basically need a single unit with an in-unit washer dryer, so she could find non-irritable alternatives to laundry chemicals, and a non-smoking building with access that has a wheelchair ramp. That is such it's hard to get the words how infuriating it is that's all she needs.
Yeah.
And she just absolutely cannot anywhere get access to it. And so she's going to decide to end her life because of this.
As I understand it, Stu, I was reading about this woman. They gave her the name Denise in the story. She got this multiple chemical sensitivities, MCS condition, and living in her apartment worsens it. I don't know if you know about like washing machines, like they collect the what am I trying to say? Not the detergent, but the other stuff that you put in there.
The lint?
Not that the softener, like this softener, it'll get like gunked up inside the thing in the middle, and it can cause all sorts of problems. All she needs is to live in a place where those kinds of things aren't a problem. Because everything's triggering her MCS. it's just I don't know. It's sort of unfathomable that that they won't give her the help. She's only getting about $1,200 from Ontario's disability support program.
Yes.
Someone give her some fucking help, dude. She's got a spinal cord injury, and I believe she got the MCS from working as a makeup person. She got it from like the chemicals involved there. I think she got it from her work. So that's like another infuriating layer to this disgusting. Again, I don't know what I'm saying. Bail me out here still.
She's reached out to all these agencies to try and find housing, and they just can't find anything that she can afford because it's $1,200 a month. I don't think anyone can imagine. Like I'm sure there's plenty of people who do it, but I would not wish that on anyone.
Right.
And I would pretty sure that anyone who's listening who is in that situation understands better than either of us how like tight that is. And like the more discussion, it's like she said with all of the doctors that she went to get these to get this approved, none of them inquired whether if she needed help finding housing. It's just she's just sort of been left to fend for herself.
She can't afford to get an affordable apartment that doesn't worsen her chronic illness. She's literally asking the state for assisted death. She's telling us she can't live without help, and the state won't give help to her. So she's asking the state to kill her. This story surprisingly similar to another one reported in April, apparently. Oh, this is the one. This is the one I pulled up earlier. I'm so sorry. This is the one with Denise. Here's Denise's story. I'm so sorry. I had them mixed up. Now it's not found.
But they're all incredibly similar. Like there's one in BC that is being investigated by the police because her daughters are like this. There's no way she should like she had an accident, and I think maybe it affected her mentally, and it just happened so quickly. And this because it is the infuriating thing. I think I want to if people want to read it on their own. There was a really good Spectator article. I'll just drop it in your chat. Just sort of why is Canada euthanizing the poor, and it really lays out all of this in really good detail. They listed a couple of the instances. There's the Denise woman who chose to die because she simply can't afford to live. Another sought euthanasia because COVID-related debt left her unable to pay for the treatment which kept her chronic pain bearable. Under the present government, which is the Justin Trudeau Liberals, disabled Canadians got $600 in additional financial assistance during COVID. University students got $5,000.
Oh my God.
There's a story about a 35-year-old disabled man, and when the Canadian officials who went in to do the medical assistance in dying, they reported that if they stood by his bed for too long, their feet would literally stick to the floor because there was a solid coating of human feces and urine all over the floor. And these were the Canadian officials reporting this, and they still went through with it. It's
fuck.
But Bill C, here's the thing. Since Bill C-7 in 2015, it has saved the Canadian government $62 million per year.
Okay.
On healthcare costs.
Okay. Yeah. Really?
That's when, when the old maid regime, so the one that was, I think, overturned previously, was saving about $86.9 million per year. And then that Bill C-7, when that was brought in, that was an additional 62. So that's about, let's do some quick math, 148 million a year that they're saving by euthanizing the poor. Let's call it what it is.
It's bleak.
It's very bleak. It's incredibly bleak. And I think there was another one that I want to pull up because, this is from my friend Hugh.
fuck?
He wrote this back in 2021. Canada's proposed expansion of assisted death threatens to push the mentally ill out the door. It's like he was. I remember when he wrote this and put this out. The wave of vitriol he received for saying exactly what was going to happen was mind-boggling. And it's this thing, I think, a lot that is kind of sort of endemic to a lot of Canadians' perception of their own government and politics. Is we assume that our government, we're the nice guys. We would never do anything wrong. They like, any of your very logical concerns that you would raise about that. Well, the government would never do that. They have our best interests in mind. It's. I mean, I guess more so on like the liberal end, because that's who is passing this. The conservatives have no issue. Like they are already doing the "I told you so" shit, because they vehemently opposed this when it first came out. It's and I because that is the sort of where I'm of two minds of it, because the actual application of it, as we have seen it being applied in Canada, has been terrifying. It's been horrific. But I'm also not against like the concept of people being able to choose the time and place of their own death should like the realities of their existence become unbearable. But that's the thing, is with a lot of these instances, in no way was that the case. It would have been so easy. We just chose not to. We just chose not to provide these very basic resources to these people.
It's just like some sickos like, oh, we found a loophole. We can kill them because we didn't give them the help. It's just like they could have solved the problem, but they didn't. And so for some reason, they're just letting people kill themselves. It's just it's just an insane shit. It's just insane.
Yeah, and I've been kind of blackmailing myself on it, but it's like the counter argument people have been making is, well, just because we haven't fixed all of society's problems doesn't mean that we should completely get rid of MAID. And back to Q, he made the joke. He's like, but doctor, what if they view me as the societal problem? It's like, what if the people making the decisions for MAID don't view the fact that I can't have wheelchair access to my apartment as the societal problem? What if they view the fact I have to be in a wheelchair as the societal problem? Yeah. That's the problem. That is the concern and the slippery slope that it feels like we are sliding ass first down at full speed.
Okay. Now, I don't want to cut you short. If there's anything else that we need to make sure that we mention about what's happening in Canada about this, I do. But of course, I want to mention this happens in a couple different countries around the world. They have laws that allow this in the Netherlands since 2002, Belgium as well, Luxembourg since 2009, Colombia since 2015, Canada, I think you said 2015 or 2016. This says 2016 for whatever it's worth. Victoria, 2017. Western Australia in 2017. A couple different places. There's been rumblings. Maybe it's passed since the resource that I read posted about it. They're talking about it in Spain, Portugal, New Zealand. And again, I'm sorry about the extra sounds, but and that takes the form of euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide. And for those who don't know, and I didn't know before today, I had to look it up. Physician-assisted suicide, or PAS, it refers to prescription of lethal medication to be voluntarily self-administered by the patient, and then euthanasia refers to like a deliberate, direct causation of death by the physician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that the MAID in Canada is the former, where it is like a medical professional will be there with you, and they will provide the whatever the drug cocktail is. But I believe it's usually up to the person who is going through with it to actually inject themselves.
Yikes. Okay. Yeah.
Which again, I think is like, you can like at a objective level, you can understand why that is. Why, if you're doing, if this person is making this decision, they should be the one to do it to themselves. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But also, in an application, it creates this sort of hands-off nature of, I'm not completely responsible for this on the part of the physician and the people actually assisting with it, which combined with all the other stuff gets pretty dark to think about. And yeah, so it's I hate to sort of bring these sort of things up and then not really have a call to action or here's what you can do or resources you can like donate to or whatever. Oh. But there's nothing really specifically that I could point to say like that is pushing back against this. The only thing I can like is just you sort of have to whatever resources or organizations there are in your community that provide services to people in need of say housing or or food security or any of these just very basic resources that people need to have a dignified life. Give to them or volunteer your time. Do something with that. That's I think the best I can come up with is something you can do. Because other than that, it's just blackpilling, as I said. You don't want to dwell on that part of it too much.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I guess I'm taking that first step, which is just educating myself, just trying to figure out literally what's going on. I don't know if you know about this. I got some stats, and I can't find it in here right off the bat, but studies indicating that pain is not typically the primary motivation for requesting euthanasia or physician-assisted suicide. No. Inadequate pain control is seen in less than 33% of patients. And again, I can never believe stats 100%, but we'll try to share this and try to wrap our heads around this anyway. Loss of autonomy, diminished quality of life, and loss of dignity are the factors most frequently associated with requests for assisted dying. Loss of dignity is identified as the basis for requests in 61% of cases in the Netherlands and 52% in Belgium. Patients who request euthanasia or assisted suicide are most often dying of cancer, and that's 60 to 100% of cases, so I'm not really 100% sure about that myself. And I don't know. Any thoughts about that?
But it darkly it makes sense, because if there's anything we know about just people, that all people like the human race in general, we're fucking resilient. The human species can put itself through a lot of pain and suffering if it has just a little bit of hope. They know if they know they're going through hell, they can keep going. They know there's something at the end of the tunnel. And for a lot of these people, when it does come to them going, okay, I can't go through this anymore, it's because they've lost that hope or that sort of like reason to keep their head up and keep their feet moving forward, where it just feels like they're just suffering for no reason. And they're like, why not just, it's inevitable. I'm going to suffer like this forever. No one's coming to help me. I can't help myself. And it's not them like succumbing to the pain or the illness. They're succumbing to the indifference of the society around them. They're like, if no one else cares about me, and no one else, and the people and like the society I live in won't help me or provide for me for the very basic things I need, why even hang around? It's like being at a party where everyone's, and this is a terrible analogy, I don't even want to finish it, but it's like you just sort of but it's like at a party and like everyone's ignoring you and no one's talking to you, and like you're just like, I just want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. People obviously don't want me around. Why would I stay? And that's I think what it comes down to is just it's a hopelessness and a detachment, rather than them just being like, oh, I can't take this pain anymore. Because I think if they have a reason to keep going, you'll find people are incredible or way more resilient than you'd ever believe. Yeah. But it's because it's not. It's
This is just one of these wild times when you just throw some money at it and it would solve the fucking problem.
And it's not a lot of money.
It's not that much. Oh God.
Like she needs a like a studio apartment.
Yep.
With a new in-unit washer dryer that hasn't been used, and like a fucking ramp to get in, and that's it. And just make sure it's a non-smoking building, and she's fine. She'd be living a perfectly dignified and like probably. And she's even said like when she lived in a goddamn motel away from these scents, her like condition improved. How much would it improve if she just had a nice single apartment that she could afford and then provide for herself and take care of herself? But instead, because she can't get those basics, she's like, I might as well die. We had a thing. I think this was when maybe when Trudeau was first elected. The Conservatives announced something called the Barbaric Cultural Practices line, and it was very clearly the Islamophobic sort of like dog whistle, like
hog whistle.
Well, yeah, foghorn more like it, but it was like, hey, if you suspect your Muslim neighbors of doing some Sharia law in their house, you can call this number, sort of thing. Shit. And like as fucked up as that is, this every time I think about MAID, it's like, well, I want to like, is that hotline still up? Because I got a fucking barbaric cultural practice to report.
Shit.
You can't people. That's the thing is America has so much fucked up going on that like we just sort of fly under the radar and get away with a lot more like really skeevy shit.
When did they come out with this barbaric practices bullshit?
Let me just quickly Google it to make sure. Barbaric practices.
I'm wondering if it was like before or after the graves are being dug up, right?
Oh yeah, this is before this. This was so. Yeah, it was a while before this. So it was. So this was. This was in 2015.
Yeah, and of course
Harper's last election.
Of course, the indigenous population were genocided because they were believed to not be, harsh enough. They needed to institute their own harsher form of justice, their own form of barbarism. They weren't barbaric enough, truly. I'm sorry, that's not really the way I want to phrase that. Okay, but hopefully I'm punching down on the right people. Okay, so we do analysis on the show. We do his historical. We do the dialectics stuff like that. So why is it this way? Why is it that we can't just give someone a couple bucks, to live in dignity? What's the problem here? What's at the root?
Well, I think it's like I'm a very sort of, I think I'm a kind of a blunt, and I would say I think maybe, I don't know if this is the right application, but materialist analysis.
Yeah.
The reason why it's like that is because we save $86.9 million a year killing poor sick people than taking care of them and providing the resources. It's as simple as that. It's a numbers game. It's a calculation. I don't think that we need to go into any sort of like you can. There's absolutely other things stacked on top of it, but the basis is we save more money by just not having to take care of them. It's that whole thing about it's the reverse of how the medicine is more profitable than the cure. Well, being dead is a lot cheaper than being kept in the ICU.
Bleak.
Like it's very bleak, and also the other thing is like the Canadian healthcare system, for everything that it does provide, the actual resources it has is very bare bones. Like especially in Quebec and Ontario, like one of the reasons why like we had our healthcare system got hit so hard is because we didn't have basically enough nurses and beds in the emergency rooms and hospitals before the pandemic to cover the just regular population. And then the pandemic happened and they got even more overwhelmed. So it's we just decided not to allocate our resources towards taking care of the least among us.
All right. Let's also illustrate that Canada is sending arms to places like Ukraine. Do you know how much they're sending? We just Biden just said we're going to send $33 billion more dollars. Can you fucking believe this number? $33 billion.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing is, like, in typical Canadian fashion, it's hard to actually pin down how much money or weapons we've sent to Canada. They say, well, we're sending this much. And it's like, well, how much is there?
Right.
How much are you planning to send? And it's still sitting in a goddamn like warehouse.
Right.
But we had Canadian military on the ground in Ukraine training Azov well before the invasion, for like maybe a year, 2 years prior to.
Oh no!
Because shout out David Pugliese at the Ottawa Citizen, who was doing great FOIA reporting on the Canadian government being like, hey, we were at a party with the Azov battalion. Don't share any of the pictures on your social media, sort of thing. Like, they knew who these guys were, and they were actively trying to keep it under wraps.
Oh, whoa. I've been at this link before. Somehow I just pulled this up again. Canadian officials.
I've definitely spoke, I think I've spoken to you about it.
Okay, there it is. Yeah. And of course, this is Azov.
Scroll down to
Azov, probably with like a NATO helmet or a U.S. helmet that we sent them. We sent them tons of helmets and military gear and like outfits and tons of advanced weapons. And they paint a little fucking with like a Sharpie Nazi symbol on there. Did you say scroll down?
Oh yeah, because the helmet.
The helmet, no. Yeah, for sure, right? Oh my gosh, dudes. Great job, everybody. We're arming Nazis. I wish that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I'm still hearing the same old arguments. People trying to convince me that I should want to arm Nazis more effectively. When you boil down their arguments, that's what they're trying to tell you. It's just obscene. I don't know. Okay. We've somehow gotten down to Azov territory.
It always really
How does this happen to me? Yeah. Okay. Let's pull out of Azov and let's talk about what else is happening. We have the SCOTUS. We have SCOTUS here in the United States. Breaking news. Breaking hot. All right, hot news. I'm going to stop that. That's annoying. Here's the deal. SCOTUS, there's a leak. There's an alleged leak. And let me see if I can pull up a tweet or something that can explain this. An alleged leak on the
draft opinion.
Yeah, of a draft opinion. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. It's this really doesn't happen very often. This kind of leak, right?
It basically never happens. Like there was one. Someone made a good analogy that there was a really in-depth reporting on the deliberations behind the Bush v. Gore decision in 2000 in the 2000 election, and that happened like 9 years after the decision was made, when the reporting on the deliberations happened, and that was seen as a giant breach of like confidentiality and trust.
Wow.
To even report on the deliberations like years after the decision had been made. So this
incredible.
I don't think ever happens.
Yeah.
And that's like my initial thought was that it was someone with because we can assume. I don't think it's slanderous or making too much of a leap to say that someone with access to the deliberations, either someone working for one of the judges or who is very close to the judges, as we know that, like, I think it was Alito's own wife who was like texting fucking January 6th.
Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Clarence Thomas. So like he's a leaky ship right there.
He's a leaker. I wish I had that Trump. That audio is great.
But that's the thing. So it's like my first thought was that it was someone on the left side sort of ringing the alarm bells, going, "Holy shit! This look at what's coming." But then I thought about it, it's like, but there's nothing that they could do. They'd know that the numbers just aren't for them. They don't, even if they turn like that. I just don't think they have the numbers to stop this ruling.
Okay.
Which makes me think that this is someone on the right who agrees with this decision. And they're doing partially a end zone dance in the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
Like they're starting to do the strut run with holding the football out in front of them, sort of thing. Because they know they're about to do a touchdown, and like this is inevitable. prepare for it so that everyone, when the actual decision comes down, can say, well, we knew this was coming. Don't worry about it. Calm down. And I'm sort of leaning that it was for one reason or another. I'm not certain of why, but I think it was definitely on someone associated with the majority that is responsible for the leak.
Okay. And of course, I don't know if you saw this. Where did this go? Look at Fox News, how Fox News is responding to it. They're more mad about the leak itself than, of course, about what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, they do this all the time.
Yeah.
When they get caught doing something egregious, they like appeal to the judges and go, well, that was offside. The only way they would know that I was going to do this awful thing is if they were cheating. So the real story here is that they're cheating. And because the media is like, most journalists are fucking rules lawyer, and I have that instinct as well. That's the thing a lot of them will latch onto, is make the story about the leak and how incredible that this actually happened is, and then sort of shove the horrifying future that is coming for American women and people who give birth.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I just think it's and it's going to be immediate. If it gets overturned, there's a lot of states that have sort of like, I don't know what the term is, but they're basically like kill switch.
Trigger laws, something like that.
Yeah, trigger laws, I think was the term, where it just immediately, like, it's just banned in the state now. Like they have it prepared and ready to go.
Yeah. Here's where abortion will disappear if the U.S. Supreme Court guts Roe v. Wade, and I think they're gonna. And of course, people have been saying this is likely to happen. I'm actually surprised they only have 5 votes. I thought they'd have 6.
Yeah. If you live in Louisiana, you are fucked.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess Florida.
Go down to Mexico.
I doubt that'll last long in Florida.
You're going to have abortion tourism in Mexico. Your thoughts, Stu?
No, they will. It's like, because that's the thing, is you're not going here, and this is the thing that like a lot of people who are sort of like kind of squishy about this have been saying. It's like, no one is pro-abortion, but I am pro-choice, and I believe that abortion should be like legal but rare. No, I'm pro-abortion. I think they should be easy and very quick and effective. It should be like it should be like going in and getting a checkup.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to jump through a whole fucking load of hoops and or drive 2 states over. I'm pro-abortion. I'll say that right now. You should and that's the thing. My mom, as with many women, like I'm like the eldest son, but I'm not the first time they tried to get pregnant. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. But if like you are pregnant and then the pregnancy doesn't go to viability, the procedure that you as a woman have to get is an abortion, because it's an abortion of the pregnancy, because it's like there's still, you need to, I don't want to be like crass, but there's still like there's tissue in there that you need to like get out, and it needs to not be in there because it's very dangerous for the woman. But that's still like, abortion access needs to be easy and quick for the health of like human beings. And as a non-birthing person, I've always said that like one of my guiding philosophies is sovereignty of mind and body. Whatever is happening inside your head and inside your mind, you get to be an authoritarian dictator about. No, like I don't think anyone gets to to if it stays inside here and it stays inside here, then it doesn't no one gets to tell you what's going on in there. So if you have a thing that is growing inside of you that has to be fed through a tube that is attached to your stomach and it's slowly siphoning nutrients from you, you get to decide whether that thing lives or dies. I don't care what you call it. That's your choice as the person with a thing inside of you. If it may not be a good idea, but if I want to rip out my liver tomorrow, that is my choice. And huck it across the room. You don't get to say anything about it.
I co-sign all of that. Yeah. Absolutely. I like having those words said on this platform here. So it sort of raises the question, like, what got us into this position? We could relitigate the 2016 election. If Bernie Sanders were elected, would we be in this position? If that's one thing. If Ruth Bader Ginsburg decided to retire at a reasonable time instead of croaking during Trump's presidency, would we be in this position? No, because we'd have one more justice, you could assume, voting for abortion rights. And what else? If McConnell didn't sort of hack the Senate to prevent Merrick Garland's nomination or even be allowed to put up Merrick Garland for a vote for SCOTUS. So those are three things right there that would have changed this outcome.
But I think this is sort of like those are lost battles that make up a war that was never, like, everyone thought that the war and the question of abortion rights was settled, and you heard it all the time. It's like there's maybe all this the fringe and on the right who says this, but it's settled law. They'd never overturn it. That was Scorpion and the Frog shit. It was they were never, and it's the same thing with gay marriage. They may have decided that for political expediency, the party would say that it's settled law, but for their base, I don't know how big it is or like how like what percentage it is, but it was never over. Abortion was never settled. Gay marriage was never settled, and it was just the fight was just kept going, and they were like, they're the resistance and we're holding the line for family and God and all this shit. And they're coming back, and they get I think what really happened is they won a lot of battles and got into a very advantageous position because of all of the things you just stated. And now that they have like the majority, they have all of these things going for them. This is when they're going to strike. But I think they were going to keep going after this no matter what. I think if all of those things you said hadn't happened and the reverse had happened, it may have just maybe kicked the can down another 20 years, and then it gets worse, and they still try and overturn Roe v. Wade. I don't think that it was just because those things happened. I think that gave them the opportunity to do the thing that they wanted to do well before that even happened.
Sorry?
Yeah, no, it's just, but yeah, fucking Ruth Bader Ginsburg and everyone who's like, girl boss, yeah, you shouldn't step down, you old fogey. You're killing it. And it's, look what you've wrought. It's all turned to ashes in your mouth.
Oh my God. Stu, you mentioned gay marriage. Is Obergefell next? Is it down the road?
Yes, and not just gay marriage, anti-sodomy laws.
Sodomy
laws.
Yeah.
Yes, like having sex, like gay
just
sex. Gay sex will, like the thing where they said gay sex is legal. That's not. I don't like, because the basis of why there's. I think I'm not like a legal expert. From what I've seen in the analysis I've seen, basically the basis of Alito's argument is that the sort of like privacy and personal privacy sort of arguments that were the basis of abortion are bullshit. So therefore, it's going to be overturned. But then the logical connection to that is that same argument that allowed abortion to become legal was basically the same sort of standard that was used to make gay sex and gay marriage legal. So if they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade in this way, then Obergefell and everything else is going to come. It's on the table at the very least. And the analogy I make is that Canada is like a city that is downstream from Gotham City. And every time the Joker poisons the water supply with some new toxin, everyone here starts acting fucked in about a week or so. So the timeline's a little bit different, but there's a delay. So that, like, if there's any Canadians watching right now, like, abortion rights, and they're not as strong as you would think in Canada, they're definitely going to be on the table for the Conservatives. They had to send out an email today to the MPs not to comment on it. They're like, do not comment on the American the SCOTUS ruling.
Wow.
Not because I think they were worried that all of the conservatives were going to say, "Oh, the SCOTUS is wrong for doing this." They don't want their MPs to give away the game. They want OPSEC, as it were.
Operational security. Don't spill the beans. Sorry, that took me a second. Yes, Drodante, they're taking away Miranda's rights to butt stuff. You heard it here first. Wow. Oof, gosh. Sorry, yeah, please.
There's a tweet I saw, and it's like, it was like announcing that Biden was going to make some, like it was going to do, like, because I think he was speaking earlier, and it's like, Biden will say abortion for the first time in his presidency. I'm like, what? He hasn't said abortion this whole time.
What?
This is not something that's been percolating and no one knew was coming. How is I retweeted it.
Okay.
Because there's no way that he's like, and maybe it's true. Maybe he's never said abortion the entire time he's been president. But it's like, that's not a good thing.
The fuck? He's the president. He's super Catholic. Yeah. Every time.
Pushes Biden to say abortion for the first time in his presidency. Oh, he's used it 3 times in written remarks. He's never said it out loud.
Oh, okay.
Which still.
Yeah.
And yeah. And everyone wants to say that because the Democrats they've been rending and tearing themselves to not really support what is obviously a very popular position for their constituents, which is at the very least pro-choice, and being supporting access to abortions. Well, I don't know about, and then Susan Collins is like, I can't believe that Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett they assured me that Roe v. Wade was settled law. I never. How could they? Yeah, she's playing stupid now too.
What a clown, dude. She got clowned. Oh my god. I didn't know she did. Yeah, she said that. She's trash. Yeah.
Well, because it's like she has to maintain the kayfabe so that she. I don't even know why she has to anymore. Because it's not I don't think she's going to run for re-election.
Let's spell this out. Let's spell this out. The kayfabe. She's gotta pretend that Democrats can't do anything about codifying abortion rights into federal law, because if they did, they would have nothing to run on.
No, I'm talking about Susan Collins, because she's the sort of she presents herself as the moderate woman Republican.
Oh, she's a Republican. I'm so sorry, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's like, well, she's the quote unquote, she's like a pro-choice.
That's sort of how she's confused. Yeah, confused me to think she's Republican.
Yeah, and because that was the thing, was she came in convinced all of the Democrats and stuff. Hey, if you Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh, don't work too much. They've assured me that they won't touch the settled law of Roe v. Wade.
Here,
and that was her whole thing. So
I had a very long discussion with Justice Gorsuch in my office, and he pointed out to me that he's a co-author of a whole book on precedent. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking clown.
But that's the thing. I think she's an idiot. Because I can immediately see he's a fucking lawyer. Do you not hear? Yeah. He said he's wrote a book on precedent.
Yeah.
That's not him saying that he agrees with the precedent. That's him saying he's an expert on precedent.
Right.
So trust me, whatever decision I make on it, it will be based on an expertise on precedent.
Oh no.
And she took that either took that as was just drove the 18-wheeler through the plausible deniability he offered her there.
Oh my god.
Whether knowingly or not, but yeah. Because that's what the lawyers do. They love doing that shit where they answer a question in a way that makes the person asking it think they got the answer they wanted, but really they're like, well, it's like that I do not recall bullshit. You can't prove I don't remember it. Yeah. And it's you had like Biden's. There's another shot where they asked him again, do you think you should get rid of the filibuster? It's like, I'm not at a point where I can make that decision right now. It's like, then fucking when will you be?
Yeah.
What will it take?
Right.
Do the Republicans have to like actually do the modest proposal for poor people in America before you go, we should filibuster this or get rid of the filibuster to stop this? I don't know. They don't want to do it. They don't. I think because if I'm going to be very cynical, the Democrats like that abortion is being threatened because it helps their fundraising.
Exactly.
It helps them at the polls because now they're like, oh, well, you need to get us back in so we can pack the court that we're never actually going to do so that we can re-overturn Roe v. Wade. And then we just keep cycling over and over again. Because they could have, like Obama could have made it settled law. I think they tried, and then fucking Manchin stopped it.
President Manchin. Gosh, that guy every time. This is the thing that I think perhaps shitlibs don't understand. Shitlibs are mad. They should be mad about what's happening right now. We're all fucking mad about what's happening. If you're not mad, you're not paying attention at this time. But the thing is, they don't realize that Democrats, I think we could say they've missed their opportunity to prevent this from happening. We gave at least two different examples of Democrats shitting the bed on that. Again, they pretty much didn't let Bernie win. He was going to win. If I can just be really short about that. And then what was the other thing? The other thing was the other thing was RGB. So that's two Democrat, mistakes, like unforced errors here, and that arguably could have gotten us out of this position. And that gets us to the question, like, could Democrats have prevented this in other ways? Could they have, again, codified it into law? And I think the answer is yes. So, like, I think if you're out there voting for Democrats for president or Senate or whatever, like you should know these things. I don't feel like I ever will again. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't see how are you going to motivate any? They're already in the black with, or is it the red with? I'm bad with economics. Whatever the bad one is, right. is how they're doing with young voters, because like. Biden's only basically campaign promise was that nothing would fundamentally change.
Right.
Shit's gotten fundamentally worse, actually.
Yeah, arguably.
It's not even that they got better in any way. Like, you've made it worse over your tenure. And you almost kind of have to begrudgingly respect the dead-eyed, cold-bloodedness of the Republicans over the past 30 years. They're killers. They know they understand that politics is about seizing, wielding, and protecting your ownership of power. And they do it, and when they get power, they want to hold on to it under any means necessary. And when they don't have the power, they want to get it back under any means necessary. And then when they have the power, they're just going to do it however they want to benefit themselves until they don't have it anymore. Democrats don't do that. Like, perfect example, Manchin and what's his face, Cawthorn. Yeah. I think two very good, or two sort of good parallels. So Madison Cawthorn, right, was like, oh, they're doing key bumps and having orgies. Yeah. And the wrath of the Republican Party has been so swift. Like, those photos that have been released, that was the Republicans going like, oh, you want to talk about the shit we're doing? Well, we'll release some of these photos. We'll release some of your photos about you grabbing your buddy's crotch or you do in drag. Those are absolutely, that wasn't like an opposition dump. That was a limited hangout leak. That was them going, "Oh, Madison, you want to step out of line? You want to step out of line and make the Republican? You want to make the grand old party look bad? You don't know who you're dealing with." And that's what the Republicans do when you step out of line.
Wow.
What do the Democrats do when one of their guys steps out of line?
Promote
If we
him.
want to be naive and assume that Manchin is actually stepping out of line and not being the voluntary like he's like, I'll be the villain that they deserve, so that you guys can all keep your hands clean. And be like, look at this evil Manchin. He's the one stopping us. Like, that dude lives on a
He lives on a yacht. I know.
Has very questionable financial history.
Really?
You could find some shit, I think. I think you could find, if you wanted to put some pressure on him and be like, hey, we're going to do some FCC investigations. Anyone close to you make any good investments recently? Some really, I think they could probably get some leverage on him if they wanted it. I don't think they actually want leverage over Manchin. Manchin is doing what they want him to do.
Okay. So for the naive amongst us, let that I'm not going to make a joke about your name. I'm sorry. I almost did.
Let it stew. No, that's
it's just something. Okay. I really try not to joke about people's names. It's just like the worst thing. Like, you've heard all the jokes about your name.
Mm-hmm. Well, mine is more just like because it's like the characters they give the name Stewart to in film and television.
No.
It's always very annoying. The one that always sticks in my mind is The First Taken. Like the new husband that his wife gets married to, and he's like giving her like the ponies. His name is Stu, and I was like, fuck. God damn it. Now apparently there's a minion named Stu, so that's
oh my god.
Deal with that.
I preferred Takening too, the retakening.
Yeah. No, those ones are great when he got his like the whole family involved.
Where were we? We're just vibing here, dude.
Oh yeah.
This is great.
Well, I think we're just talking about how like the like and like again also like you said with how the Democratic Party dealt with Bernie Sanders in both primaries. When they want everyone to get in, when they want the party to be in line and get in lockstep, it happens.
Yeah.
And when for some reason it's just not happening in these specific cases.
That's a perfect illustration there.
Yeah, Manchin is not he's not going rogue, I don't think.
Okay. Well, what else do you think we know? Do we want to wrap this thing up, Stu?
No, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, that's all I can say on it. I just think it feels weird to say that the ruling and the overturning of Roe v. Wade is inevitable.
Okay,
but I've been racking my brains, and I cannot for the life of me think of how this doesn't end up being the final ruling, or at least it doesn't end up being the majority ruling. They maybe flip, because I think there's one of the judges who's currently like sort of on the fence. But if I was a betting man, I'd assume the way that judge would fall would be towards the majority anyway. So I have. This has been I feel like I've just come in and been very doomer with all of the news I have to share, but
that's fine. That's what we do here.
Yeah, I think it's just people need to sort of just prepare and also kind of maybe figure out ways to sort of support each other that don't rely on your government, because the American government, at least in my opinion, has shown itself to be wildly incompetent when it comes to providing for its people in any sort of functional sense. So yeah, sort of it needs to be sort of like you need like it's that sort of like mutual aid sort of shit, that intercommunal sort of like taking care of each other. Find sort of orgs in your area, help them out, because I don't think you can sort of Democrats are not coming to save you, and voting's not going to help either. I mean, honestly, if you did like a small garden in your backyard and you just started giving those fruits and vegetables to your friends and family, you're doing so much more good for society than voting Democrat. That would be my thing, is start a garden, start a community garden if you can.
Love it. Before we let you go, Stu, and I co-sign all that too, by the way, Supreme Court is apparently saying the leaked abortion draft is authentic, and Roberts is ordering an investigation into the leak. So there you go. There you have it.
Yeah, no, and that was immediate. Like, it just immediately, it's now the story is going to so much attention in the media. I'm going to mark my words, is going to be diverted to the whodunit sort of spectacle of this. Yeah, that's what most of the discussion on like CNN or MSNBC is, and especially Fox News, is going to be. So maybe tune out of that shit as well. All right,
Stu, you're a returning champion today, and I've really enjoyed my time with you. Let's just do this again. Let's think of another topic and bring you back in a little bit. Whenever you're ready to come back, I just like the vibe we got. Can you go ahead and let people know what you do and where people can support you?
Oh, yeah. So I stream on my own at Left Hand Stu. It's the same for Twitch and Twitter. Makes it easy for you. And then I also help produce and sometimes co-host TheKultureDotTV. Go give us a follow or on Twitch, or subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get to the 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so maybe they'll give us some money. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'd really, really appreciate that. Any sort of support we can get there. Canuck Cast on a Wednesday at around 2 p.m. Monday show, Mondays at 2 p.m. And we're working on some other sort of streams for the rest of the week that will be shortly coming. New Frankfurt School, great podcast. Check them out on Twitter.
Well, I didn't catch that part.
They were streaming with New Frankfurt School. They're affiliated with Culture, but they were streaming on with Haley last Monday, okay. And then also I did a good stream with them about the Bushes and the Bush family jewels and stuff, which was very entertaining for me. So yeah, give their podcast a listen. They're great. They're doing a really good series on Kanye West, and if there's the one thing I know, no one gets more excited and passionate about how great Kanye West is than 30-something millennial white guys, specifically leftist white guys. They love him so much, and it fills my heart with joy. So
yeah, we've been
give that a peek.
We've been loving the TheKultureDotTV content. I almost called it Culture Club. Sorry. And I've been super stoked that y'all are pulling out clips, and I've done a react or two to them, and I hope you're okay with it. I guess I should have asked.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I sort of assumed. Stupid shit.
Yeah, no, we're just trying to get the word out. So the more people seeing us and getting the name out there, the better. So we really appreciate you doing that, actually. So
my pleasure.
Makes us feel good.
Yeah, y'all are doing great work, and I'm happy to share it. When I got into this, I was like, well, I'm a dumb guy, so I guess I'll just have good production and try to promote voices that are less dumb than mine, and that's what we're doing here. And I appreciate that. You've been a great guest in that respect. I appreciate you very much, Stu. We're gonna let you go. I hope you have a really nice rest of your day. Thank you. Peace out. Solidarity.
Have a good one.
That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you, patrons. You can support on Patreon, $3 a month. Thank you to all my patrons for keeping this content alive. Love your face. See you, Stu.
See ya.